Hi and welcome to another Dech Academy video. Here I have question 42 and it's a really quick one. It says an interior angle of a regular polygon is 5 times each exterior angle. How many sides does a polygon have? So this question requires you to know what a regular polygon is, because that's really the hint, and it expects you to know the relationship between interior angles and exterior angles. So I'll just quickly state that for a regular polygon, all the interior angles are equal. Every single interior angle is equal. So if you had a 5-sided regular polygon, which means that all the sides will be equal, so I'm just sketching it. What that means is all the interior angles of the regular polygon would be the same. That's one thing. Another thing to note is that for any polygon, the sum of the interior and exterior angles give 180 degrees. I mean, another way to look at it is, if I extend this line and draw this angle here, I have just drawn an exterior angle to this interior angle. If I extend this line here and I draw this, well, I represent this angle here by this kind of curved region here. I've just drawn an exterior angle to this interior angle. So I'm just going to label this I to denote that this is an interior angle, and label this E to denote that this is an exterior angle. Now, the rule is that the sum of an interior and exterior angle is equal to 180 degrees. Even without remembering whatever that rule was, you just have to know that, remember that the angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. And this is what we have here, because I had this straight line. This should be straight anyway. It's a sketch. The straight line, and I extended the straight line and I drew this angle. So I have this situation where I have an angle on a straight line, and this must be 180 degrees. So the sum of I and E must be 180 degrees. So those are two things you need to know. That all the interior angles in a regular polygon are equal to each other, and interior angles and exterior angles add up to 180 degrees. So the question now tells us, well, if an interior angle of a regular polygon is 5 times each exterior angle, so I guess what they're trying to say is 5 times the value of an exterior angle. And now they've given this piece of information, so let's call this equation 1. And they've told you how, and they're now asking you how many sides the polygon has. Well, we know that interior angles plus exterior angles must equal 180 degrees. We just know that. That's just a piece of information we know, which may or may not be useful. The question is saying, find the number of sides of the polygon. Well, what equation do you know that relates the number of sides of a polygon, a regular polygon, any polygon, to its interior angles? Well, the equation is the following, which tells you that the sum of angles of a polygon is equal to n minus 2 times 180, where n, by the way, this is the sum of the interior angles of a polygon is n minus 2 times 180, where n is the number of sides the polygon has. Another equation you know is that the sum, or you should know anyway, the sum of exterior angles must be equal to 360 degrees. So these two equations you need to know. You can't go into your Waec exam without knowing these and expect to pass. So you need to know these. So now we're just trying to find n. Now if I just move to the right here. Now we don't know how many sides the polygon has. I'm just going to call that. I'm going to call that n. So I'm just draw a barrier here. I'm going to call that n. Now, if I have I interior angles, okay, I think another thing to mention is that the number of sides of a polygon is also equal to its number of interior angles. So let's look at a triangle, which is a 3-sided polygon. A triangle has 3 sides, this side, and this side. And a triangle has 3 interior angles, 1, 2, and 3. Let's look at a square, which is another polygon. It has 4 sides, and it also has 4 interior angles. we can keep going to 5-sided, 6-sided, 7-sided polygons, and you get the same thing. So the number of sides of a polygon is also the same as the number of interior angles. That's something you need to know. So using, say, this equation, which says the sum of interior angles is equal to n minus 2 times 180, we can determine the number of sides because this equation involves the number of sides, and I'm going to show you how we can determine this left-hand side term. So we have a polygon with n sides, which means that it has n interior angles. So say, I'll put it this way. If we have n interior angles and each of these interior angles are the same, the sum of the interior angles is n times the value of one interior angle. So I'll demonstrate this. Look at this square. Each interior angle is I. Now the sum of the interior angles is I plus I plus I plus I, which is 4i. For a triangle, there are 3 interior angles. The sum of the interior angles is, let's say each one is I plus I plus I, which is 3i. So as you can see, the sum of interior angles is the number of sides times the number of interior angles. And you can think about it intuitively. You have 3, in this case, you have n i's because you have n interior angles. So it's n, the sum of the angles is n times I. Take time to think about it, but this is what we have. So the sum of interior angles is n times I, and that's equal to the number of sides minus 2 times 180. So we don't know n, and we don't know I. But if we could determine I, we can then solve for n in this equation. So to determine I, we can use these 2 equations here. This we were given, this we know because of what I mentioned earlier. So using this 2, let's find I. So in the question we're told that I is 5e, and we know that I plus e is 180 degrees. So if you substitute this I equation 1 into equation 2, we can write that we can replace I with 5e in equation 2 and have this. So from equation 1, we know that I is 5e. So anyway I see I can replace it with 5e. So I'm doing that here. I'm replacing I with 5e, and that's what I have here. Plus e equals 180. So 6e is 180. So e is 180 over 6, which is 30. And because it's an angle, it's 30 degrees. So I must be 5 times e from this equation. So I is 5 times e, which is 30. So I is 150 degrees. So just going back to this situation, this equation here, where the sum of angles is equal to n minus 2 times 180, I now know what I is. So now I have one equation with one unknown variable. That means I can solve for the unknown variable. So the only unknown variable here is n. I know what I is. So I'm just going to rewrite this here. N times I is 150. So n times I, 150n, is equal to n minus 2 times 180. And if you simplify this, you get a number of sides. So let's go 150n equals to 180n minus 360, which gives 360 is 30n, and simplifying gives 12 equals n. So n is 12. So the regular polygon has 12 sides. There's an easier way to solve this question, and I'm going to show that below. So we know that the sum of exterior angles is equal to 360 degrees, and we found that each exterior angle was equal to 30 earlier. And just like with interior angles, the number of sides is equal to the number of interior angles, and is also equal to the number of exterior angles. So if you have five exterior angles, the sum of exterior angles is 5 times e. If you have 4 exterior angles, you know, the sum of exterior angles is e plus e plus e plus e, which is 4 times e. So for n exterior angles, you're going to have the sum of the angles being equal to n times e. And for for the sum of exterior angles, we know that they give 360 degrees. So n times e, which you know is 30, is 360 degrees. So n is equals to 360 over 30, which is the same thing. We got 12. So the number of sides of the polygon is 12.